In order to make your banking system as efficient as it can be, you're gonna wanna follow these 5 steps. Because if you don't, things can get a little loose. You can start to forget the reason that you're doing this. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you start listening to your broke uncle who lives in a trailer. Who knows? But what I do know is if you don't treat this like the asset that it is, your infinite banking system will suffer. I'm Shawn King, Infinite Banking Specialist, and today's video is all about the quarterly work you're going to have to do to run your own private banking system. So, let's dive in. All right, so the one thing I just said in the beginning is work. None of you want more work. You're like, oh man, did this guy just say more work? I'm done, I'm gone. But wait, before you leave just yet, how about we call it something different, okay? You wanna make more money, right? Great. I'm gonna give you 5 ways to make more money and things that you have to do quarterly to make a lot more money. Does that sound better to you? Does that sound better than work? Awesome, there we go, we got it. So, as you can see from that dialogue that we did or didn't just have, it's all about how we frame things. It's all in the way we see things and say things, because that's all that really matters. All of you want to make more money, right? So if I said, I'm going to give you 5 tips on what to do quarterly to make a lot more money, all of you would be interested. But if I tell you there's work, and here are the 5 things that you need to do quarterly and the work you need to put in, you're like, I don't know about that. So I'm gonna make this super fun. All right, and all we're gonna talk about are 5 things for you to make a whole bunch more money and what you need to do quarterly in order to make sure that happens. All right, so this one is super easy, but it's really important because it's gonna keep you on pace. What you need to do at least once a quarter is check your policy's cash value. Just log into the portal and figure out how much cash value do I have. This sounds so basic, but this is what you do with your bank account, right? This is what you do with your 401k. This is what you do with your investments. You're checking on them probably more than once a month, if we're being honest, right? But here I am telling you to just do it quarterly because we're building a system and we're going to build habits that happen quarterly. So this is no different than what you're already used to because you're already used to checking on your accounts. Whatever accounts you have, you want to know how much money do I have or how much less money do I have now, right? Well, the good news is with these specially designed and engineered whole life insurance policies, you're always going to have more money year over year. Why, you ask? You guys know this, because they're guaranteed. You get paid guaranteed interest plus dividends, so therefore you're never going to have to look at your account and be like, whoa, what happened? How come it's worth so much less now? Now that might be the case with an IUL, that could definitely be the case with a VUL, that's most likely the case with your 401k or your investment account, but that isn't going to be the case with your private banking system and these specially designed whole life policies. So here we go. Once a quarter, you log in and you see what your cash value is. Now, there's a very important reason to do this, and we're gonna cover that in one of the other 5 steps, but I'll give you a hint. Number 1, you're going to have opportunities, which are going to require certain amounts of money. For example, some of you might have set up your system, your private banking system, with the purpose of getting all your money back for every single car you ever buy, drive, or own. But in order to do that, you had to capitalize your policy so you had enough money to buy that car. The car is the opportunity. So if you're not checking your cash value, you're not going to know how much money you have, and you're not going to know when you have enough to fund that car. So if that's the goal, then you're going to want to know when you have enough money to do exactly that. And also, here's another thing. Sometimes we have big goals for our policy and for our banking system overall. Like, a car. Maybe you want to buy a $50,000 car, but you got to save up 50,000 bucks. That could be a couple years for most people to get to that 50 grand point. And over that time, that gets a little boring. You start to lose focus. You start to think, I don't know what I'm doing this for. So what I want you to do is try to find things quarterly to use that available cash value to keep you going and keep your money working for you, okay? Because one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to take money, put it into this policy, and then just leave it sitting there. Although that's definitely better than just taking the money and letting it sit in your bank account. But that's not what we're doing here. We're trying to grow your cash value and grow your wealth, which means the cash value has to be out there working a second time. Remember, somewhere in one of the videos that you've watched that I've made, I've probably said this is the only way you can make money twice on the same dollar, and the only way you're going to know how you're doing is by checking on your cash value. So now I want to ask you to check something else, and that's this button right here. It says subscribe. That's right. Check it, click it, flick it, whatever. Just make sure you're subscribed to this channel. I appreciate that. But let's get back into it. Number 2 of what you're going to do to make a bunch more money quarterly is something that I can't understand why every one of our clients does not do. And that is take part in the quarterly follow-up we put in place for the first year or two. Our team is there to help you fulfill whatever goals that you had when you initially set up your private banking policy. But if you're not taking part in your quarterly call, then how the heck can they actually help you? There's no cost from this outside of your time, of course, and that time could be very minimal. One time per quarter, set up a call. They'll notify you, but set up a call and take it with them. Even if it's just to go through the basic fundamentals of your policy, discuss some debt payoff plans, maybe even talk about some potential lending opportunities, which we'll talk about here shortly. It just helps you stay engaged and stay active using your personal banking system, okay? So let's move on to the third thing that you need to do on a quarterly basis to make a whole bunch of money. Sorry, I'm trying to make this sound super exciting. It is exciting, but yeah. So on a quarterly basis, after you meet with your specialist, myself or somebody else on our team, or during that time, you should be looking and examining your current opportunities. For me, my opportunity was paying off debt and recapturing the money that I was sending out to those third parties. But what if you're doing this to buy a car? What if you're doing it to lend money on Private Money Club? You're going to want to have your eyes on opportunities. So for example, if it's private lending that you decide to do, every single quarter after you check your cash value, go into privatemoneyclub.com and look for new opportunities that fit the amount of cash value that you currently have. Or this is a really good time to make sure that your bookkeeping's up to snuff and just work with what you have on your current opportunities. So let's just assume that one of the loans that you did on Private Money Club was 10,000 bucks and you were making 12%, which means there should be an extra $100 a month coming in from that one. Great. So the first thing you would have done when you did the loan is you would have set up a loan repayment back to your policy, right? Or if you forgot to do that, the quarterly review that I was talking about would be a great time to do that, okay? So check number 1, set up loan repayment. So now what I did is I noticed that I had a loan out there for 10 grand. I then checked to make sure that I had a loan repayment set up. And then the other thing we want to do is find out if the borrower is current on their payments. So how I do this is with a Google Sheet, and I just make sure that every single month when the check comes in, I put it into a little chart on my sheet, and then I can go quarterly and I can say, yep, fully up to snuff, everything's on time, perfect loan. So then maybe you got another loan for 5,000 bucks at 10%, which is about $41.66 a month. So again, now I've got these 2 loans out, which were both loans from my policy. And now all I'm doing quarterly is I'm checking in on them. I'm making sure that they are up to date. I'm checking on the date of when the loan is supposed to be paid back because, hey, listen, we don't want to let that loan go any longer than it's supposed to. And if it does, in your note, I hope you'd have something in there that said they owed you a little extra money, right? Hopefully, because I know if I extended any of my notes, I charge a 1% fee. And you should probably do something like that too. Don't incentivize your borrowers to just keep using your money for as long as they want. If they borrow your money for 12 months and in the 13th month they go beyond that 12 months before paying you off, they got to pay the piper, folks. Again, put a fee in there. Like I said, I charge 1%. So you're just making sure that your loans are up to date and you're checking as to when do these loans pay off. And then you can start making preparations, which is the next thing that we're going to go into. So let's move on. The fourth thing that you're going to want to do falls right into what we just talked about. You always want to be looking for new opportunities, because if you got one deal that's maturing soon, let's say that you got a deal that's maturing in a month, okay? What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to line up a couple opportunities because you've got to do your due diligence. So you don't want to just wait for this one loan to mature and pay off. You want to start doing your due diligence on other deals within that time horizon. And the nice thing about Private Money Club is there's notifications. You can set notifications, you can put search functionality in there, you can find deals that meet exactly what it is that you're looking for. So let's say that you find a deal because you've got a deal maturing here in the next month. So what you want to do is you want to find a deal that's going to need funding within, call it 2 months, because figure it's going to be a month and then there's going to be a little overtime. So you're going to want to start doing your due diligence now. So I'm sure you're aware doing the proper due diligence sometimes can take a little time, which is why I'm trying to get ahead of this and get you to look for those opportunities on a quarterly basis, okay? If it's something like debt that you're paying off, you're just going to want to make sure that you're keeping up with your process of paying that. You're on pace with your debts. Maybe one debt is a little slower being paid down, maybe one's ahead. Here's a unique thing that I used to do when I was paying my debts down. I would take a loan quarterly, I would pay the loan down, and then what I would do is I would wait for 1 month to cycle, because it took a month for the statement to actually cycle back. And then I would look at how much I was paying monthly, and now that I paid it down, how much is my minimum? And then that would be the amount that I would recapture and recycle back into the policy as a loan repayment. I did this because it was easy for me to do. It didn't take a lot of effort. So all you've got to do is look at your new statement and your previous month statement. And for example, say, all right, my payment was $100 a month, but I paid it down with that loan from my private bank. And then the next statement says it was $50. I know that I can recapture $50 and I don't have to work any harder or longer or take on any additional risk. That's good banking. So with that being said, when you review your debts, when you review your deals, you're going to always have to be looking for the next deal, the next opportunity that falls in line with your plan. Okay? Let's move on to the next and final thing that you must do quarterly. The fifth and final thing that you really want to do is you want to be planning for the future planning. It's like everything else. You've got dreams, you've got goals, you've got things that you want to accomplish. So what you need to do quarterly is you need to look into the future. That's a crystal ball. But no, seriously, evaluate the next 1 or 2 years. You always want to be looking at least like 2 years out with your private banking system. What opportunities are you looking at in the future? What deals do you have coming up that are going to be paying off? What debts are going to be paid off within the next 6 months or 1 year or 2 years? Because then you can start forecasting what your next move is going to be. Listen, if you're going to be the bank and you're going to create your own banking system, don't you think you should be working like a traditional bank? Wouldn't that make sense? I've got to imagine that a traditional bank has tons of opportunities in the pipeline at any time. I actually know this to be factual because I know people who are bankers, and bankers always have a whole bunch of deals and they're underwriting a whole bunch of deals that they're looking at. Some of them get approved, some of them get denied, some of them are at the right time, some of them are at the wrong time, because even traditional banks have their ebbs and their flows in how much they want to lend and how much money they want to put out for various types of lending. Your private banking system is the same thing. But if you're not keeping a pipeline, if you're not looking into the future, you're failing yourself. You're not getting ahead of the curve. And then you're always going to be playing defense. You're always going to be basically waiting for something to happen, and then you're going to be trying to rush into whatever deal presents itself first because you feel like, oh man, I need to make up for lost time, lost interest, lost future revenue I could have been earning while I was waiting. Take this stuff seriously, folks. By becoming your own banker, you're already in the minority. Make sure you're doing the things necessary to stay a successful banker, one that stays in business for multiple generations. With that being said, you guys, if you're watching this and you're not yet participating in the practice of becoming your own banker, but you want to learn more, head down to the description section of this video and click that link. That'll take you over to our website where you can check out our full save and spend system overview, which I promise will be extremely helpful in understanding this concept. After that, go ahead and book yourself a free cash consultation with my team and I, and we'll sit down, we'll answer all of your questions, and we'll discuss exactly what your goals are and how infinite banking can be the foundation to building your legacy. Please, you guys, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more financial insights, and check out some of our other super helpful videos on the channel. We put new content out every week. If you found this video helpful, please feel free to share it with somebody that you believe needs to see it. As always, you guys, the information is free, but the knowledge is priceless. I'm Shawn King, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.